Hello, I'm Joel Reedy, an attorney at Cornerstone Law Firm, and today we're going to be answering your frequently asked questions from the internet. The interwebs, the worldwide center of questions. Oh, why thank you! Are lawyers... ... Question 1. Are lawyers... I'm great at this. Know what I'm doing. Oh, are lawyers and attorneys the same thing? Well, that's a good question. Stranger from the internet, the short answer is yes, at least as far as America is concerned. Lawyers and attorneys are just interchangeable terms. Sometimes people say that an attorney is someone who can go into court when a lawyer can't. I've heard different versions of that. I think that there at least at one point may have been a distinction in old British law and in some countries, but in America today, if you say somebody's a lawyer, they are an attorney and there is no distinction. Question number 2, are lawyers, it's harder than it looks, people. Oh, are lawyers notaries? No. Lawyers are generally not notaries, or at least I should say they're not the same thing. A notary is someone that verifies the signature on a document. So if we're signing a will, for example, in Pennsylvania, we generally want it notarized. So when someone's signing, we have a notary say, yes, I checked the ID. The person whose signature appears at the bottom of this page is the person who was on the ID. And that clarifies that that is who signed it. But notaries are not attorneys. They can't go to court on your behalf. And vice versa. I can't notarize a document for you. There are attorneys sometimes who are also notaries. There's no rule against it, but generally once you've notarized the document, you can't also be an attorney representing somebody in that case because it's considered a potential conflict. So, number 3. Yeah. Are lawyers allowed to lie? I am insulted by this question. Of course not. Of course not. But do they? Yes. No, lawyers shouldn't lie. They're not allowed to lie. It's actually illegal for a lawyer to lie to the court. So if a lawyer is talking to a judge, they can get into major trouble for telling the judge something that's not true. They can lose their law license. They can face various types of criminal charges. Generally, though, a lawyer should be honest in all of their dealings. We sort of have this reputation for not being honest. I'm not really sure that that's deserved. I don't think, in my experience, lawyers lie more than most other people. But I think if a lawyer is being dishonest, it has the potential to cause problems for people that are maybe bigger than the average person. So are lawyers allowed to lie? No, legally we are not. And as far as I know, the law of morality does not give us any particular excuses either. Are lawyers part of the judicial branch? So this is an interesting question. I would say sort of. Lawyers are considered officers of the court, which means that we have certain obligations, like telling the truth to judges. We also get certain privileges. We're allowed in behind the bar. That's why we call it the bar in the courtroom. We're allowed to file things with the court on someone else's behalf. We have an ID number with the court, which gives us certain types of, I'd call it privileges or abilities to bring things to the court's attention. So lawyers are considered sort of in a vague sense part of the judicial branch, but we don't have any real power outside of that. I mean, I can go in and advocate for a client, but I don't get a vote on, who's a judge, or at least not any more than everybody else does in state court in Pennsylvania. So I guess the answer is yes, sort of. Are those all of our questions? There's more questions, but wait, there's more. Stay right there. Don't change the channel. Don't touch that knob. Does your lawyer ... Oh, okay. Actually, I'm a little concerned. Does your lawyer have to be in the same state, probably? County. I mean, a lawyer doesn't have to be in the same geographic location, state or county with you, but a lawyer does have to be licensed in the state that your work is in. If you're here in Pennsylvania, our lawyers are licensed statewide. So if you are in Pennsylvania, a lawyer who is licensed in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, no matter where they live, they can practice in any county that you happen to be in. If they live in Philly and your case is in Erie, all the way across the state, yes, that lawyer can represent you. I think there are some states in the United States where you actually are licensed by county. In the old days, Pennsylvania used to be a little bit that way. You had to kind of be a part of the county bar where you were going, but in the 60s they moved to the Unified Judicial System, or UJS, which you'll sometimes still hear about. So at least here, we're all one county. Don't quote me on this, but I feel like Virginia might have that county system. Not totally sure. Does your lawyer go to mediation with you? Well, yes. If you are in the middle of a lawsuit and you're suing someone, occasionally mediation results somewhere in the middle of the lawsuit. Everybody takes a quick time out and says, how about we go see a third party and see if they can help us work this out, resolve it. In those situations, yes, your lawyer is going to go to mediation with you. They're going to represent you at the mediation. But mediation is a bit of a broad term. So if you're having an argument with your employer about something before you've ever sued them, sometimes they say, why don't we try mediation? In that case, if you want a lawyer, you can hire one, but there's not generally a requirement that you take a lawyer to mediation. Does your lawyer speak for you in court? I should certainly hope so. And in most cases, that is really the main reason you get a lawyer. There are times when you have to speak in court. If you're testifying, your lawyer can't get up on the stand and say, no, move aside, I'll swear in and testify for you. Your lawyer can't handle your sentencing for you. The judge may have questions for you specifically. Your lawyer will be there and will answer certain questions for the court. At the end of the day, you will have an opportunity to address the court. But in most cases, if you're appearing in court, it is your lawyer's job, their opportunity to speak for you. And there are a lot of benefits to that, not just that we maybe present better in public, but also that, more importantly, a lot of times we're able to present information about you in a way that would sound self-gratifying if you said it about yourself. It's a little easier for us sometimes to be the attack dog on the other side rather than you. So yes, your lawyer does speak for you in court. Does your lawyer have to turn you in? Does your lawyer have to turn you in? Okay, I think it might depend on what you mean by that. If you are charged with a crime and you need to turn yourself in, there's a warrant out for you. Yes, your lawyer can help you turn you in. They don't have to, but they can help you. They can go and negotiate bail for you. They can negotiate the terms of your turning yourself in. They can pick a time with a police officer or prosecutor. There's a lot of benefits to a lawyer helping you if there's a warrant out for you, and that's extremely important. To be clear, if you call your lawyer and say, I'm on the run and I'm charged with a crime, and don't tell anybody that I called you, in most cases, the lawyer does not have to disclose anything about you. That's the benefit of having a lawyer. What a lawyer can't do is help you commit a crime. So they can't say, okay, meet my friend Bobby, he's got a bag of cash and a fake passport. That's different. But no, a lawyer doesn't have to rat you out. We really can't rat you out. That's the idea of privilege. So that's panel 2. But wait, don't go anywhere after these commercials and a word from your local station. What does a lawyer... What does a lawyer do on a daily basis? Lawyers have very different jobs. So some lawyers on a daily basis are in court every single day, maybe in a courtroom with a handful of criminal clients that they're walking through the process or pleading out or doing sentencing for or having trial for a week. Many lawyers, though, spend their whole day outside of a courtroom. There are quite a few lawyers, I'd say the majority, who never go into court. They maybe are negotiating deals. They're calling somebody, opposing counsel or other clients, or trying to get funding for a client. They might be working on their business problems, advising them on how to stay out of court. There are other lawyers who all they do is things like due diligence. They go through records and make sure that they line up with what they're buying. Either their client's buying a business, they go through all the records and make sure that the business is in good shape, that the person's buying. Lawyers do a lot of different jobs like that. Many of them sit behind a computer all day. We're not always the healthiest and most fit people for that reason. What does a lawyer do in courts? Well, it depends on what they're retained for. Obviously, a lawyer's job is to advance the interest of their clients. So we may show up to court and question witnesses, cross-examine witnesses. We speak for you in court, which means that we are there to try to head off difficult issues for you. We may object on the rules of evidence that something isn't allowed to be talked about. We might argue that a piece of evidence can't even be considered by a judge or jury. What a lawyer does in court kind of ranges on all those things. And a lot of what happens in court, honestly, is just negotiations. You show up at court and says, go outside, and before I decide X, Y, or Z issue, I want you guys to talk about it and see if you can reach an agreement. So lawyers show up, they litigate, and then they also negotiate outside of a courtroom. As a lawyer on retainer, what does a lawyer on retainer mean? That's a good question. So a retainer is typically a pot of money, I don't know how else to describe it, that your lawyer's holding on to for you. So you put money into our trust account. It's an interest on lawyer's trust account, IOLTA for short. We put money into the IOLTA account and it's got your name on it. It's not my money and it is your money, but it's in my bank account, which sounds a little weird, but it's not my operating account. It's a separate account. And what happens is every month when I send you a bill, then we pay it out of that retainer. It's kind of like a security deposit. So when people say a lawyer on retainer, I think what they usually mean is not merely I have a lawyer that I would call if something went wrong, but actually I have an active, ongoing financial relationship with a lawyer and they're dealing with something for me. Having somebody on retainer just means they can pick up the phone and call me. They get answers quickly. So really just means you have a relationship with a lawyer. These are your craziest questions, folks? Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for playing, and thanks for Googling. We'll see you next time. Are lawyers happy? Oh. Well, I am, but like in general, we're not known to be the happiest of professions.